Our lesson for the second quarter of music is all about the East Asian music. We will start with the Japanese music. What part of Asia does the country of Japan is located? It is from the East Asia. First, let's start with the percussion instruments, also known as membranophone. First, in Japan, we have the odaiko, which is known as the big drum. The physical energy and sheer excitement of an odaiko performance is an integral part of many Japanese matsuri or festivals. Tsuzumi, hourglass-shaped. There are two varieties. The smaller one is also known as the kotsuzumi. It is held on the right shoulder and the player alters the tone by squeezing the laces. The bigger one is otsuzumi, which is placed on the left thigh. Tsuridaiko, a large hanging barrel drum. Taiko is a Japanese drum that comes in the various sizes and is used to play a variety of musical genres. Now let's talk about the string instruments, also known as the chordophone. Koto is a 13-string zither about 2 meters long and made of Paulownia wood. It is plucked using picks on the thumb and first 2 fingers on the right hand, while the left hand can be used to modify pitch and tone. Koto is used in an ensemble in gagaku or as a solo instrument. This is an example of koto. Shamisen. It is a plucked instrument or string instruments. Its construction follows a model similar to that of a guitar or a banjo, employing a neck and strings stretched across a resonating body. The neck of the shamisen is fretless and is slimmer than that of a guitar or a banjo. This is a picture of shamisen. Biwa. It is a Japanese short neck fretted lute often used in narrative storytelling. The biwa is the chosen instrument of Benten, the goddess of music, eloquence, poetry, and education in Japanese Shinto. Now let's talk about the aerophone or the wind instrument. First, we have the shakuhachi, the most famous flute made from bamboo. It has 4 or 5 finger holes on the front face and a thumb hole on the rear face. The nokan, a parallel bamboo flute, is the only melodic instrument used in no. The melody of the flute has no specific pitch relationship with the melody of the chanting. Hichiriki is a double-reed Japanese flute used as one of 2 main melodic instruments in Japanese gagaku music, the other being the ryuteki. Sho is a Japanese free reed musical instrument that was introduced from China during the Nara period. Shinobue, also called as takabue in the context of Japanese traditional arts, is a Japanese transverse flute or flute that has a high-pitched sound. In Chinese music, for several thousand years, Chinese culture was dominated by the teachings of the philosopher Confucius. He conceived music in the highest sense as a means of calming the passion of dispelling of unrest and lust, rather than as a form of amusement. Traditionally, the Chinese have believed that sound influences the harmony of the universe. Significantly, one of the most important duties of the first emperor of each new dynasty was to search out and establish the dynasty's true standard of pitch. A result of this philosophical orientation was that the Chinese theoretically opposed music performed solely for entertainment. Let's talk about the Chinese musical instrument, Yueqin Moon-shaped lute with shorter neck and 4-string, played with a spectrum used for accompanying local operas. Pipa Four-stringed lute with 30 frets and a pear-shaped body. This instrument has an extremely wide dynamic range and remarkable expressive power. Erhu Two-stringed fiddle and one of the most popular Chinese instruments. It is used as a solo instrument as well as in small ensemble or large orchestra and by various ethnic groups. Yunluo, literally cloud gongs or cloud of gongs. The yunluo is a set of 10 small tuned gongs mounted in the wooden frame. Sheng Chinese mouth organ. Looks like a set of panpipes with 12 to 36 bamboo pipes. Each pipe is of different length with a brass reed at the bottom and a hole that must be blocked in order for the note to sound. Dizi is a traditional Chinese flute. It can have a membrane or an extra hole to give the characteristic rattle effect. Zeng, an Asian Chinese instrument that has an arched surface and an elongated trapezoid with 13 to 21 strings stretched over individual bridges. Fengling. These are two small bells made of high tin rounds without internal clappers. The hemispheric or bottomless gourd-like in shape. Now let's talk about the Korean music. Korea's folk music tradition, with its generous use of bright rhythms and melodies, offers a more energetic and capricious contrast to the nation's collection of classical music works. Chongak means literally right or correct music. Chongak also refers to ensemble music for men of high social status outside of the court. Sogak or minsogak is a category of Korean music traditionally associated with the lower classes or for the general public and are vibrant and energetic. It includes genres such as pansori and minyo. Pansori is a kind of music presented to audiences by skilled vocal singers and drummers, but even the unskilled could sing these songs. Instrumental music of Korea or Korean music, especially in South Korea, has a rich vocal tradition and diverse instruments and musical forms. The folk music or folk songs, religious works, court music, and shaman rituals all express the soul of a nation whose history is filled with colorful and fascinating tales. String instrument, kayagum or gayagum, is a traditional Korean zither-like string instrument with 12 strings, although more recently variants have been constructed with 21 or more numbers of strings. It is probably the best-known traditional Korean musical instruments. Gyeomungo, 6-string plucked zither, is a traditional Korean strings musical instrument of the zither family of instruments with both bridges and frets. Yeogyum, 2-string vertical fiddle. It has a rod-like neck, a hollow wooden soundbox, 2 silk strings, and is held vertically on the knee of the performer and played with a bow. Piri, in wind instrument, it is made of bamboo. Its large reed and cylindrical bore gives it a sound mellower than that of many other types of oboe. Percussion instrument or Changgo. Changgo is a most widely used drum used in traditional music of Korea. It is available in most kinds and consists of an hourglass-shaped body with 2 heads made from animal. Now, let's talk about the songs of East Asia. Let's start with Sakura or Cherry Blossom. It is a traditional Japanese folk song depicting spring, the season of cherry blossom. Moliwa is a traditional Chinese song with a beautifully gentle and lyrical melody. The lyrics is about the jasmine flower, also turned into a love song. Arirang is a Korean folk song, sometimes considered the unofficial national anthem of Korea. It is used as a symbol of Korea and Korean culture. Arirang is an essence of song of farewell. The origin of the word arirang is the hill. An emotion of deep regret is imbued in the rhythm of arirang. The song evokes the feeling of tears shed by Koreans and the remembrance of their sad stories. That will be all for our music discussion for this week. Now let's talk about our music activity. For the activity 1, what you have to do is to listen to the following songs of the East Asia using YouTube link that is written or given on your module. For the second activity in music, you have to explore the songs. The direction is you have to fill in the table below by answering the questions related to each East Asian songs. For example, in Sakura, you have to answer what feelings is being expressed in the song, how was the song performed, how did the song reflect the culture of its country, and what do you think is the message of the song. So same with the Molinwa and the Arirang of Korea. Now, in arts education, let's talk about the painting in China, Japan, and Korea. In East Asia, the objects or items that are usually put into paintings are called subjects, themes, or motifs. These may be about animals, people, landscapes, and anything about the environment. Important aspects in East Asian painting. Landscape painting was regarded as the highest form of Chinese painting. They also considered the three concepts of their arts: nature, heaven, and humankind, or the yin-yang. Painting is closely related to calligraphy among the Chinese people. Calligraphy is the art of beautiful handwriting. Traditional painting involves essentially the same techniques as calligraphy and is done with a brush dipped in black or colored ink. Oils are not used. This is an example of a Chinese calligraphy. Let us enrich your knowledge about Chinese calligraphy. Did you know that the earliest known Chinese logographs, or the ancient writing symbols, are engraved on the shoulder bones of large animals and on tortoise shell? The script found on these objects is commonly called jiaguen or shell and bone script. Kangji, the legendary inventor of Chinese writing, got his ideas from observing animals, footprints, and birds' claw marks on the sand, as well as other national or natural phenomena. What did you observe with this picture? It is actually a painting of a Chinese temple. In East Asian, temples and houses have sweeping roofs because they believe that it will protect them from the elements of water, wind, and fire. Buddhists believe that it helped ward off evil spirits, which were deemed to be straight lines. The figures at the tip are called roof guards. There are three main types of roofs in traditional Chinese architecture that influence other Asian architecture: the straight inclined, the multi-inclined, and the sweeping. This is an example of a straight inclined, which is more economical for common Chinese architecture. When we're going to talk about the multi-inclined, roofs with two or more sections of incline. These roofs are used for residences of wealthy Chinese. Sweeping has curves that rise at the corners of the roof. These are usually preserved for temples and palaces, although it may also be found in the homes of a wealthy Chinese family. Woodblock printing is a technique for printing text, images, or patterns used widely throughout the East Asia. It became one of their oldest and most highly developed visual arts. This is an example of a block or a woodblock printing. Japan ukiyo-e is the best known and most popular style of Japanese art is the ukiyo-e, which is Japanese for pictures of the floating world. And it is related to the style of woodblock printing, making that shows scenes of harmony and carefree everyday life. Ukiyo-e art was produced in a diversity of different media, including painting, and became an art domain of the upper classes and royalty, but later was also produced by the common people. That will be all for our art education discussion for this week. Now, let's talk about the art activity. In activity 1, what you have to do is to rearrange the jumbled letters to form the correct term that is being described by the following statements. For the activity number 2, you have to describe, or using the pictures below, what you have to do is describe the artworks of East Asia by observing the elements of arts present in each design. For example, is this one. How are you going to describe the line? Wavy and thin lines. The shape is irregular shapes. Texture is bumpy and rough, and then the description is shows nature theme. Do on the following pictures that is given on your module. Now let us have our short quiz about our discussion in arts. Fill in the blank. Number 1. Blank is closely related to calligraphy among the Chinese people. Number 2. Blank is the art of beautiful handwriting. Traditional painting involves essentially the same techniques as calligraphy and is done with a brush dip in black or colored ink. Oils are not used. Number 3. Did you know that the earliest known Chinese blank or ancient writing symbols are engraved on the shoulder bones of the large animals and on tortoise shell? Number 4. Did you know that the earliest known Chinese logographs, ancient writing symbols, are engraved on the shoulder of blank, large animals, and on tortoise shell? And number 5, the script found on these objects is commonly called jiaguen or shell and bone script. Blank is the legendary inventor of the Chinese writing. Got his ideas from the observing animals' footprints and birds and claw marks on the sand, as well as other natural phenomena. That will be all for our short quiz in arts education. Now, let's have our discussion in physical education. Our topic is all about team sports: baseball, basketball, volleyball, and football. Health-related fitness activities play a vital role in the holistic development of a person. The choice of fitness activities usually depends on the individual's interests, age, and ability. Health-related activities ensure cardiovascular fitness and thus helps you in the progress or the process of aging. Health-related activities are provided for you to have a better grasp of the lesson at hand. You will have various options in selecting the most appropriate exercises or activities that will help you and your family to achieve a level of physical wellness. Being physically fit and healthy can help you get through with the stresses and demands of life. It improves your self-esteem, develops your confidence, and clarifies your self-concept, which can only be realized as you get older. Exercise is any bodily activity that enhances or maintains physical fitness and overall health and wellness. It is performed for various reasons: to aid growth and improve strength, preventing aging, develop muscles and the cardiovascular system, honing athletic skills, weight loss or maintenance, improving health, and also for enjoyment. Many individuals choose to exercise outdoors where they can congregate in groups, socialize, and enhance well-being. Warm-up is to prepare for physical exertion or a performance by exercising or practicing gentle beforehand. Workout refers more to a specific set of physical exercises which follow a precise pattern. Cool down is an easy exercise done after more intense activity to allow the body to transition to a resting or near resting state gradually. Now let's talk about the physical education activity. What you have to do is to describe the identity of each team sports as indicated on the table below. For example, in sepak takraw, the basic skill is service. The body parts involved is leg, and then the component of physical fitness involved is flexibility. Ganun din ang inyong gagawin sa basketball, baseball, football, and volleyball. In activity number 2, using the table below, there are sets of activities from each group of exercises that you can pick or select to create and perform a 5-minute routine with your family or peers to achieve a physically ready sports body. The performance must have the following group of exercise: warm up, workout proper, and the cool down. Mamimili lamang kayo ng kung anong mga warm-up exercise, workout activities, and cool-down exercises ang ilalagay ninyo sa video. After that, record the video and then send it sa inyong MAPI teacher. And then after doing the workout exercise or the workout video, what you have to do is to answer the following guide questions. So that will be all for the physical education. Now let's have our discussion in health education, which is all about love, courtship, and marriage. Family is a vital part of our everyday life. It helps us to improving our personality and shaping our life. It teaches us the value of integrity, love, and honesty, and provides us with the tools necessary for success. Choosing a lifetime partner involves some processes: crushes or infatuation, dating, courtship, engagement, is practice and exercise. Dating leads to the development of intimacy between couples or within a group. Dating gives you quality time to talk to people. There are different traditional courtships in Philippines, like practices of singing romantic love songs, reciting poems, writing letters, and gift giving. Marriage is a covenant to keep the partnership for life, staying together through thick and thin, and being responsible for the rearing of child. A family is the smallest unit of the society where children learn the first ABCs of life. Parents should be the role model of values to their children. Quality time spent with your family builds harmonious relationship among the members. Now let's talk about the activity in health education. Activity number 1, what you have to do is to have a survey of your family members and ask them about the similarities and differences of courtship before and today. Use the Venn diagram to show the comparison. For our activity number 2, what you have to do is to think of a successful married couple that you know. This couple might be your parents or guardians, grandparents, an aunt, an uncle, or neighbor that have an interview about their married life using the following questions. Okay, so that will be all for our lesson activities in health education. Now, let's have our recap about the lesson activity na kinakailangan ninyong ipasa sa linggong ito. Sa music, you have to do lesson activity number 1 and activity number 2. In arts, you should submit your lesson activity number 1 and number 2. In physical education, you will be also answering lesson activity number 1 and lesson activity number 2. And in health education, same, you will be doing lesson activity number 1 and lesson activity number 2. For this quarter, we will be having another setup on how are you going to submit your answer sheets. What you have to do is, after answering or accomplishing your lesson activities, or after having your answer sheet, you will take a picture of your answer sheet and then you will send it through Messenger. Isi-send nyo ang inyong mga answer sheet sa school account Messenger ng inyong MAPE teacher. That will be all. Goodbye and see you next week.